of the most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Race Hour podcast, brought to you with our friends at Gambling.com for the National Hunt Season 23-24. I'm delighted to say Dermot Nolan's back. Dermot.
Well, Dino, how are you, buddy? What's the story?
I'm good. We missed you last week.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, no, I had a sick daughter. I was just back from Malta. I had a sick daughter, which is still going on about a week later. But just a tough few days, Dean. But I missed your glowing smile as well, Dean.
That's okay. I appreciate that. Like the listeners or watchers these days, now that we're on the big screen as well, would have been pretty disappointed not to get your stage star recommendation, although they would have had it the previous week when I laughed at it and said absolutely no. And then I think I did the same on the actual day. So fair play, Demo. Come on.
He's a Ryanair contender. That was a serious performance. That was really, really a really strong performance. Really, really good.
Yep. We will have a chat about some of those big performances over the weekend, of course, at Cheltenham and at Navan as well. Some good racing there. We'll pick up on those. I'm delighted to say back with us. And this is the first time, I think, this season at least, is Cian Kirby. How are you, Cian?
Very good. Thanks, Dean. How are you?
Very well. Very well. Did you enjoy the weekend's action at Cheltenham? Second Cheltenham meeting of the season already.
Yeah, jump season's flying by. I mean, these that 2 months pre-Christmas I always find is the best part of the jump season. So looking forward to another fantastic weekends of racing ahead.
Fair play. I always remember when we had Darren McLean on here. We're getting back onto the race soon enough. Always calls this the Golden Highway, the run up to the Christmas period. This is the time where he likes to make a few moves. Darren, how was your weekend? Darren Hughes is back.
Yeah, geez, thanks a million. I'm delighted to be invited back after my fucking
I almost
disastrous
didn't need to
performance
introduce
there.
you. I almost didn't need to introduce you. You've been on here the last 3 weeks. I was like, Darren, you well?
Yeah, not too bad. Jeez, yeah, it was fucking disaster there last weekend. So we'll be hoping for a better performance. I think I was struck literally 0 for 7, including a couple of fairly strong odds against Lays. So let's see if we can improve performance this week.
I wasn't going to bring up Darren. Promise.
That's okay. I hold myself to high standards. That's all.
You may as well get in there first. That's fine. Okay, look, we'll do a quick weekend review from what happened because there was so much that did happen. If you can cast your minds back all the way to the Friday, I might nap at the weekend round that day, Calico, and I thought he got the Harry Skelton treatment, almost the David Bass treatment if Paddy Aspel was here, where he hits the front as far out as he possibly can and goes for home and gets collared by perhaps a good one. Triple Trade's going to run this weekend. That maybe wasn't the highlight. Dermo Foxy Jack's one. I mean, would you put that up if you were on here last week? You normally do.
I was sick. I probably would have. Yeah, I was literally just here trying to work and look after poor old Nolan. And I looked up and
yes, would have done.
And yeah, he jumped really well. Yeah, but he's so mental though. You just end up following him forever. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. He just has his good days and his bad days. That horse does.
Well, I mean, he went and picked up the cross country, and they've got other things they can do with Foxy Jacks now this year. Instead of finishing 4th and 5th in big handicaps, which is generally what he does, and upset Dermo along through the season. So maybe that will come good. Manila Missile was good. Beat that Captain T, Darren.
Yeah, that was good. Well, I don't know, it was that good. It was Captain T, just maybe a little bit ordinary. I was disappointed. I have to say, I thought he'd pick them up and carry them. Hard to know with an Evan Williams horse. There's a couple of yards in England that I just don't back. Evan Williams is one of them. David Pipe is another. There's a couple more. I'd be here all day explaining why. But because I can't understand their MO a lot of the time. I wouldn't trust the form of that race, and I certainly wouldn't back that horse to back up that performance a second time, if I'm being brutally honest. But overwhelming feeling was disappointment with Captain Teague, as opposed to thinking that Manana Missile is the second coming.
Yeah, maybe not the second coming. Those yards, including Evan Williams, harder to read than I don't know.
Honestly, people give out about Mark Johnson. I find Mark Johnson's not too bad. You can you know what to expect, generally speaking, and I think it's just a factor that his runs so often it looks like he goes through weird runs. But Evan Williams, David Pipe is another, and again there's a couple more. I just don't understand what they're trying to do a lot of the time, and I find it very, very hard to back their horses with any confidence. So
yeah, it's
there you go. That's me.
Fair enough. I'll come to Cian now, and I'm moving into Saturday, Cian, although feel free to reference anything from Friday. That Burdett Road that won the Triumph Hurdle Trial, it was still a bit of 7-1, I think, around for it after the race.
Before Cian talks, can I say that is the worst 7-1 shot that I have ever seen, and I've been giving out of anti-post. Anyone who wants it, DM me on Twitter. You can have 14s. No problem.
Darren,
You can have
Darren,
as
I'm,
much as
I'm,
you
coming,
want.
I'm coming to you after this.
You can have it. No problem.
I'm
You can have
coming
it.
to-
That is the
I'm-
worst 7-1 shot I've ever seen.
You can have
in my entire
14s. It's
life.
a fair jump.
You can
That's
have it.
fine.
You can
I'm
have it.
taking
That
it.
is a genuinely take it.
Dean would have taken 9s off. Yeah.
I was going to say
I don't care.
7-2, but I'll take 14s. It's fine.
He's 5-1 to run in the race, I think.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way. There's at least 12 or 14 Irish horses that haven't run yet that are going to be better than him.
Oh, I think. Oh, I like this, Darren. I like this
There's
polar
no chance.
opposite view.
Sorry, Cian.
Okay,
Let's hear what
I'm
Cian
moving
has
on.
to say.
I'm
Sorry.
moving on. Cian, we saw the Triumph Hurdle winner, and it's available at 14-1.
Yeah, look, I think it's a bit too early to be chatting about the Triumph Hurdle. I'd agree with Darren, like he is too short a price. I wouldn't be getting involved, as you say. There's a lot of horses to come out early next season, the Adonis, whatever like that. It's way too early for the Triumph Hurdle. Just to touch on a couple of horses, I suppose from the Saturday stage there was absolutely incredible. I thought that was the performance of the weekend.
He dossed round, didn't he, Cian? He just
yeah,
dossed.
and even made the running and even made a mistake at the last and still picked up well to win by 4 lengths. I mean, we saw Allaho come out and win the other day. I think it was at Clonmel. He was impressive, but I think he's got a serious rival on his hands now in stage there. And usually the Ryanair isn't an attractive race, but it's actually shaping up to be a really good battle between those two.
Yeah, it's good that there is everyone wants Allaho to get there so there can be the daily plunge and everyone's accas get an extra one in it. But yeah, there's a real rival there. I thought Springwell Bay was good on the day as well, Cian. I thought that was interesting. Broadway Boy, who you tipped up on Gambling.com, was a winner in the novices chase. So you must have been happy there.
Yeah, I tipped him up the night before, Dean, at 11-2. I just thought his form the last day behind Florence Porter was good. Obviously, We've All Been Caught, who's proven to be a disappointing horse.
Yeah.
He just reveled in the conditions and absolutely pissed up by 20 lengths. Is he good enough to be competitive in the graded novice chase at the Cheltenham Festival? Probably not, but still
Probably not.
A lovely horse for the Twiston Davis team.
National Hunt Chase probably be where he ends up, I'd say. And
possibly.
Yeah.
Welsh National in time.
Oh damn! I missed a real opportunity there. Welsh National horse.
Welsh National in time.
100%. They always are. They definitely always are. Sam, I was going to ask you about a few of the ones from Ireland on the weekend. Of course, we had some good performances out there. I'll get to the one that I was really disappointed with maybe at some point. But Bob Ollinger was back. Captain Guinness was back. Facile Vega was back. Nice reappearances. All legs were in working order. Anything else?
I really struggled with this weekend's racing. It pissed me off, to be honest with you.
Why?
I really did.
Why?
Just in Ireland. Again, I have to preface everything with I had a tough week or so with poor old Luna shouting at it, right? So the world, I'm looking through the world through slightly darker glasses than I normally would. I'm tend to be, kind of positive first team, generally, not all the time, obviously, as you know well. But it's just the trainers in Ireland it's nearly too much now focusing on the long-term picture with their horses, which I know makes sense, but the Facile Vega race was a farce. Like, it was an absolute farce. Facile Vega didn't have to attack a single fence. We don't know whether that horse can jump or not, really. He schooled round in the pocket, not being targeted at a handicap chase. It wasn't blatant, holding him up and trying to get away with it. It was just very clearly get him round, give him a good experience first day. If he wins, he wins. If he doesn't, he doesn't. The same thing happened with, I know the way you're thinking 2 weeks ago under Mark Walsh. Behind the Imagine.
Even in this same race, I mean, there's a lot of these introductory races. The one that upset me the most was Dysart Dynamo in the Captain Guinness race. I thought.
I think I just think he's a ball of shite, that horse. To be honest,
maybe I can't. I don't want to maybe disagree with that.
You aren't a fan of his, in fairness. So
no,
that's
I'm not the biggest Dysart Dynamo fan. But what was going on was the horse still on the bridle, not really encouraged just after the last get.
I don't know if he finds anything,
relaxed.
though. So I don't know whether Paul Taylor just went, you know what, I'm not even doing this now. I'm sick of him. He's not going to find anything. But then, you move on then, and we look at the Sunday, and this isn't Gordon Elliott's fault. Gordon Elliott had 15 runners in a handicap chase in Ireland. 15. Yep. And Gordon Elliott is a story that we should be shouting from the rafters. There's obvious reasons why we don't. Gordon Elliott came from absolutely nothing, and he's built up this amazing yard off his own back, his own hard work, his own genius. Gordon Elliott has achieved all of that. So I can't stress enough, this isn't his fault. But Jesus, we are approaching the point where rule makers are going to have to start wising up now that horse racing is a different sport now. And that a trainer should only be allowed to have a certain amount of runners in a race. I was always against this, but it really does have to start happening now. Other simple things as well. Like I saw Jamie Snowden spoke, he spoke so well during the week that the sport we focus way too much on handicap marks, which means that this time of the year is just a load of trainers messing around trying to position their horses correctly for when it matters later on this season. We need to have a look at handicap marks. The system doesn't work anymore. There's the whole sport of horse racing needs to be pulled aside. Again, as I said, really bad form last weekend. So like the most glowing performance would have had a negative for me. I'm not saying that it wouldn't, but when a trainer has 15 runners in a major handicap chase, and we're actually at the point in Ireland where it's easier to win a grade 1 nowadays than it is to even win one of those handicaps in Ireland. It's
easier to win a grade 1 than get a runner in a handicap in Ireland sometimes.
It is, because like an up-and-coming novice chaser in Ireland, what are they getting a rating of, like in the 130s? That's what they would have got from last season. They're not getting into that race. Like it's incredible. And it's something where the rule makers in horse racing just need to start figuring out that the sport, it's a different sport now, and we need new completely new rules.
Hey, look, we talked about it last week on this very show, and it's something that, do you throw in a 5-runner rule? What do you do? And then does that mean that owners then have to spread their runners around? But then are you treading on commerce rules for people who don't make as much money as they can? You can't really do that. I don't know. Cian, I mean, I mentioned some of the performances there. Facile Vega, Captain Guinness, Bob Ollinger. It was good to see Bob back winning. Demo went off on his rant about Gordon Elliott having too many horses and running them all in the race. All valid. Like there is probably not an answer without the people stepping in. You could talk about anything you want, Cian. I don't know where to go from there.
Yeah, it sounds like Diarmuid had a rough weekend by the sounds of it, lads.
He did.
Bob Ollinger, great to see him back. I mean, he travels so strongly. Great to see him actually pick up and put Santa here to bed. I thought that was an impressive performance. I'd say probably 2.5 miles is optimum conditions, so he's probably a difficult horse to place. I thought Factor File was actually quite disappointing against American Mike. I mean,
I wanted to talk about this. I mean, he's never going to be the leading 2-mile 4 novice, and so I wasn't concerned at all. Keep piling on for the RSA.
Like American Mike was poor last season. Now he really struggled, and you were questioning his form coming into that. And Factor File came down to the last with every chance and just didn't really find much. And obviously with Captain T getting beating as well, he probably questioned last year's Cheltenham champion bumper form as well.
Do you question Dream to Share? I mean, he was the one at the front of them.
Yeah, exactly. Just in the Facile Vega race, I thought, in the pocket just never went up and had a crack off.
It was a cracking ride, wasn't it?
It was just shock and wash. Like, I was looking forward to that race. Like, that was like you could say that was nearly like a grade 1 race. There was really good horses in that, and it was just you work away Facile Vega, you do what you want, and we might see you at the last, we might not. And I thought it was just, it was pretty poor. Wasn't a great spectacle. Then on Sunday, I thought John Bon was very impressive. Now, in fairness, in the Schlore Chase, but like
champion chase winner, Cian, or El Fabiola in the way.
He just has so much.
Or do they go after Stage Star and Allaho? Could do.
I think they'll go champion chase, but he's a lot of ground to make up. I think like he was 5-1 anti-post for the champion chase. I mean, he wins at the weekend impressively 4-9, and he's into 5-2 in places. I think he'd get a bigger price in the day. Like, I think that's a shocking price, to be honest with you.
100%. It's not. They're not encouraging you to have a bet at those.
No. Like, I mean, if El Fabiolo comes out this season and has a little bit of improvements, it's hard to see John Bon making up that ground. He was well beaten, and he was obviously well beaten the Supreme by Constitution Hill. So he's probably just a couple of notches below top class, but it's good to see him out now, in fairness.
Yeah, he was good. He was good indeed. Darren, I mean, there's a load of topics you can pick up on there. You can talk about the Facile Vega races, which I still think was the most fascinating one of the weekend. But it's up to you.
So I'll run through a few different bits. Some of them have been touched on already. Some of them haven't, just from the notes I've taken. Stage Star was class. I didn't see it coming, but like, that was absolutely unbelievable. Frodon won a Ryanair after winning that race, and I wouldn't see any reason that Stage Star could do the exact same if Allaho's not at his best. Facile Vega I thought was okay, but like the lads have said, farce of a contest really, like is in the pocket really wasn't off a yard from what I could see. I thought Captain Guinness is really good. I know you're giving out about Dicer Dynamo. I thought Captain Guinness was actually quite good, jumped well. Dicer Dynamo is just
Sorry, beat Riviere de Tel. Like
I thought
that level's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I thought it was perfectly fine. Dicer
Yeah.
Dynamo is ultimately a disappointment. I'd say there's a good chance he's regressing as well as opposed to progressing. So maybe one to swerve at short prices for the rest of the season. I think he could take up a lot more of the market than he deserves in similar contests going forward. So there could be betting opportunities.
My issue
against
there,
him.
Darren, was that it was a grade 2. It was the Fortria chase. And, the horse got, and maybe I need to watch it back without this in my head, but the horse got no encouragement. Like,
yeah, I get where you're coming
come
from.
to the last, we've gone quick enough, just relax, we'll get over the last. And that's a grade 2.
You don't see too many non-jiggers or willies, is all I will say. Like, it's very, very rare that one of his isn't ridden to best place. So
yeah, I just felt it was very relaxed. And if that's the case, then maybe the horse is gone, which is kind of what you're alluding to. That's what I'm getting to as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, as in, look, time will tell. But I wouldn't cast aspersions, let's say, on one of Willie's horses just yet. If someone else trained the horse, I might be inclined to entertain that concept a little bit further. And then the last one, just the one that the lads haven't mentioned. I'm obsessed with this horse of Gordon's called Croke Park. I think he's improving hand over fist. He obviously won his maiden hurdle maybe 6 weeks ago in, I think it was Clonmel. Yeah, Clonmel. And then obviously followed up then in a grade 3, which again was dominated by Gordon Elliott runners. So I mean, look, you could maybe question the form to an extent, but went off 4 to 6. I think this lad is learning race to race. Clearly he's learning. Like, he got beaten in a Kilbeggan maiden in May, and he's now a grade 3 winner 2 starts later. Obviously went up half a mile in trip at the weekend. I think another half mile will do him absolutely no harm. Not sure he's one for like the Albert Bartlett necessarily this season. And I always give out, there's more to the season than Cheltenham. So I wouldn't panic over his next target. But I just think he's got an engine now. And I think he might have been a bit harder work than they initially thought he would be, but he's coming good now. So one to keep on side. The sooner they go chasing, the better, I would expect. But plenty of fun to be had this season in the meantime, I would say.
Interesting. His next couple of entries, got the entry at the Royal Bond, one of the very best meetings of the early salvos of the jump season. Of course, that comes over Fairyhouse on the 3rd of December. That might come a bit quick, and that is, of course, 2 miles, grade 1. And he's also got entry in the Future Champions Novice, which is the 2 mile at Leopardstown over Christmas. So maybe not going up in trip yet. They come back in trip. They take those.
Yeah,
we're talking gigas. Probably 10 in all of those races. So.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not saying he's got enough ability, I think, to run with like decently in any of those races. Just from my eye looking at him, he looks like one that would improve for a trip. Interesting that they mentioned and all those, but like you would look, because those races cut up so badly nowadays. You'd be a lunatic not to have your horses enter up and see what way it shapes up in the morning of the deck. So, let's see where we get to with him. But he's just one that the lads had mentioned who he took my area a little bit.
Yeah, well worth pulling that to the fore. That's Croke Park, of course, and winner of grade 3 at the weekend. All right, look, we covered over some of the jump stuff. We kind of didn't talk about the Greatwood winner. I was very disappointed with the Cian, who just does what she does these days, which is traveling, look like a good thing, and then slow down when kind of the gun is put to the head. I mean that in the nicest possible sense. And the weirdest thing that happened in the race was that only a matter of time running out again. So that's a bizarre piece. And if Rico doing the business under a man is on fine, he could have won.
Yeah, and that race that Liverpool Lord was second in, that's looking very strong as well. Nicky Henderson, he's never really started a season this well before. He's really flown into it. Nico de Boimbles, he's running out of his skin. It's kind of popular to knock him as a jockey, but Ruby Wall said it before. The real beauty of Nico is just how simple he keeps everything. It's
ice.
He tends to be in the right place at the right time on these rides. There's a reason why he's been trusted for so long. He's ridden everything from Splinter Sacra now through to Constitution Hill. And he's but even just these kind of handicap chases, there's still times that I find Nico de Boinville very frustrating, like walking on air in the Pertemps last year as a ride that I'll never understand what in God's name that he was doing. But when he's right, like he is at the moment, he's very good.
Yep.
And I enjoyed Sunday's racing. Our kind of overall at Cheltenham, the attendances were down.
Well, the meeting's too
the
long, Dermot. I think everyone has to, we're going to come to this weekend's racing shortly, right? And we're going to go through the racing at, Ascot and Haydock. And you're going to see small fields, good quality races, decent prize money, but small fields. And that Cheltenham meeting is probably taking a big chunk out of what's coming this weekend, because it's over the 3 days, too much going on. They're not even, the level is not that high. The fields are quite small. We had a walkover this week. Do you want to go on another one of your rants while I've got you in good form?
No. Look, this all goes back to what I said a few weeks ago. Again, even just the sport is different now, and it needs to be looked through different goggles. That's all it is. Ireland has the number of runners to be able to kind of maintain, but that's because it's a reduced fixture list every week anyway. So that's why it's so hard to even get runners in somebody's maiden hurdles. But the UK just needs a completely new look. The sport needs to be addressed from top to bottom, and it needs to be looked at through the prism of how do we continually get the very competitive racing every weekend. It's not being looked at through that. And I understand why you're afraid, why people, that you personally did, why people are afraid to look at this, because this does mean jobs losses. This does mean closures of some tracks and everything else. That is what this will inevitably lead to. But we're on our way there anyway. The sport's in serious trouble, and it needs to be looked at. And this whole moaning thing of, I hate the way people talk about Cheltenham so early. There's nobody in tennis looking at it going, oh no, we shouldn't talk about Wimbledon. We've got an ITF tournament next week on in Prague. We should be talking about first. Nobody talks like that in any other sport. The whole calendar needs to start being built around these huge weekends like we do here in Ireland, and just kind of go from there. And hopefully we can start fixing things.
Yeah. I don't disagree. There's actually a very good model they can have a look at in Ireland. And it's literally like
Winter Festival into Christmas,
less
into
racing. Yeah.
DRF into Punchestown, effectively.
Yeah, indeed. All right, look, now we're going to take a short break here, and there's a message from our new sponsors, the BHA. No. All right, so
jeez, you had me there for a second.
All right, we're getting stuck into the weekend.
That was very good, dude. That was brilliant.
No worries. I'll teach you up for it. All right.
Was that set up beforehand? Was it, you pair of folks?
No, Jesus, no.
Came to me as demo, started tearing everyone apart.
Right.
There is no break. We are still live. We are going to continue. The 115 from Haydock is where we're going to start. We're going to cover Ascot and Haydock over the weekend. We're also going to have a quick look at John Durkin, of course, but Galloping Champson's there, and he's 4-11, I believe, last time I checked. All right, let's go with the 115 at Haydock. I actually thought there was a bet in here. I'm going to come to Cian Kirby first, because maybe we might agree, but I'm only guessing.
Yeah, trappy little race this theme, but the one I came down at was the Crawford train, Carnfanacht. I think he's there around 9-2. Last season, finishing off was third behind Giovinco, who's a pretty serious horse. Had bits and bobs, a good bumper formed, beat Better Days Ahead. Second, It's What Unites. Won a couple of bumpers prior to that. He gets in off 1-2-8. I think there's a bit of improvement in him. Now it's a wide open race. I wouldn't be magazing him. I just thought at the odds, I thought he was the bet in the race.
Yeah, Carl Funnock in the double green for the Crawfords and Darryl Jacob up. It's not the favourite though. He's what is he? Around 9-2, 7-2 Park Hill Dancer. That's Nicky Henderson, who's in such good form. With James Bowen up. Fingers Hill is 11-2, 7-1 Park, and AMC8. I'm going to need to practice that one. Another double green. And then you've got the rest of them at 8-1 Bar. Dr. Ladd was always a big friend of mine, but he's still not the one I like. I'm going to keep you in suspense. Darren Hughes, what do you like?
Yeah, this is really tricky, Dean. Really, really tricky. I think conditions are looking like they might be somewhat testing, though not, traditional Haydock. Substance from another planet surface, let's call it. I gave half a chance to Albert's back. He ran poorly in this last year, but he does like Haydock, and he's got a preference for softer surfaces, it's fair to say. So you can be quite confident, I should say, that he'll handle the ground. There looks to be a little bit of pace on here, likes of Lactic Constance and last year's winner Stainsby Girl. like to go forward. He's obviously ridden in a more conservative manner, but he always finishes his race out very, very strongly. It's not a confident selection. I wouldn't tell anyone to go to the well on this one, but I wouldn't want to lay 12-1, which is some of what's available out there. So I'd give half a chance to Albert's back here.
Fair enough. Albert's back for Darren, Carfunnock for Cian, Kirby. Demo, are we going to make it 3 different picks before I get to mine?
Yeah, Park Enunciate. I believe that's kind of like Enunciate. That's how I looked at that, but I hope that's what it is. He was. I just kind of was watching the racing replay, and at Ayr last year, that was a decent enough performance, beating Ginger Mal. The horse in third has come out and won since, and Ben Bromley completely negates the £5 rise for that win. So for me, this horse looks way too well in to ignore. He's a decent pilot as well, is Ben Bromley. So in a tough race, Park Enunciate is basically running free, in my opinion, and I'm very, very happy to be backing him here.
Interesting. Okay, so the Crawfords must have some grip on this. We have 2 shouts, one for each of their runners in the race. Darren likes Albert's back for the Easterby team, and I'm pretty keen on this lack of constance being much better than it's shown so far. I remember when they punted it off the boards to beat Boot Hill at Christmas last year, and whilst it didn't go to plan, of course they got an unseat, but they were fine. It was early on, about halfway round. Ran then behind Captain Matan. Then the kind of wheels came off towards the end of the year, but that can happen when something's gone wrong. Obviously, I thought the comeback run was okay. I don't think they put too much into it. Just got going towards the end. Harry's on for Dan. I'm getting sucked into these Skelton horses, and I always give out about the ride. So Lack the Constance will be about 25 lengths clear around the bend, and hopefully this time they'll cling on. Do think of double figures. He's a decent punt in that race, and on a trappy punting weekend card. All right. That's the first race done. That's the 1:15 at Haydock. We're going to jump around the courses based on time order here. The extraterrestrial that is Shiskin is going to win the Grade 2 chase at Ascot, Nolan, and he's currently 13-8 or thereabouts. He's got Pic D'Orhy, Manila Drama, and Strawfan Jack to see off.
Yeah, disappointed he's not going for the Betfair. He's old enough in the tooth now he's long enough in the tooth now that he should be going for any of the big races that he can. But look, half understand it, and yeah.
Hey, the King George is the target.
If he
5 here.
If he goes with the King George, I'll be very happy. But I could be, because I'll back him in it. I said already, but he wins. He wins.
Good. Yeah, he's good. He's going to win. He's going to be impressive as well, Cian, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, what Shishkin ever going to run in the Betfair chase? Like, being realistic about the situation.
Well, not if you've ever heard his trainer talk about how he looks after his horses before. I can't see how a Betfair chase before a King George would make any sense to him. And even if there's not many runners in it, which there isn't, they still come here.
Yeah, this is the right decision for the horse long term. I mean, if you're thinking about going King George and Gold Cup, the worst thing you could do is run on Haydock and soft ground and ruin his season. Will he win? I mean, he beat Pic D'Orhy over course and distance by 16 lengths last season, so he'd like to think so. He went to the Ryanair and disappointed, but I thought he was good at showed a very good attitude at Aintree when he just picked up a Hoy Senior. I don't know how Shishkin will get on this season. He's a difficult horse to predict. I mean, after a couple of fences, will he be on it or not, or will he be off it? Would he be getting stuck in at 4 to 6? Not. It's a watching race for me. Again, he could win by 15 lengths. He could, not show up. You just don't know with that horse really. The other two, Manila Drama, the other two aren't really good enough. So yeah, it'll be just a watching race for me, Dean.
Fair enough. I'm excited to see him back. He's 14-1 for the Gold Cup, Darren. His Aintree demolition job of a Hoy Senior, I've exaggerated, but his victory at Aintree over a decent trip, and with the King George in his sights, he's 14-1 third favourite for a Gold Cup. They're going to have to go for it this year. He's going to be 10 after we turn the year, so it's Gold Cup all the way, Darren.
Yeah, I wonder if they didn't leave it behind them last year.
Yeah,
not that I don't think he'd have beaten Gallop in the Champs, so it's an academic conversation. But if the horse's best chance of winning one, I believe, would have been last year. There's no way he's a better chance this year at 10 than he would have had last year at 9. Put it that way. I also don't buy this that you can't run in a Betfair chase in the King George. I mean, Caught Star did it.
No, I don't think the position was you can't. It's like in the best interest of the horse, knowing the trainer that we're talking about, he was never going to.
Yeah, but best interest. What do you mean by best interest? Like, and what do you think is going to happen to the horse if he runs in a horse race?
He's going to get very tired, Darren, and then he'll have to give him a few easy days.
I don't know. I don't think I buy this. Like, it's a month away. Like, it's in other horses have been there. I think we've gone very fond of, oh, let's not run him in this race because the other race is easier and that will ruin his next race. I'm not entirely sure that's always the case. But in any case, moving swiftly on, I think Harry Cobden's down for a 6-timer this weekend, is he not? That's why he
Hey,
didn't go to Haydock.
I tried this the other week.
Yeah, well,
It didn't come off.
I'm only listening to what the trainer had to say
You
from
want
the
that
I
start of
know,
the
yeah.
week.
Yeah.
He's not going to Haydock specifically because he's got a 6-timer on the cards at Ascot. That's what I'm led to believe. So let's see how he gets on here. But no, Peak Shish should pick these up and carry them. I won't be betting in this race, but we'll see if Pick Doherty gets turned over here after all Paul Nichols' chat, and then Brave Man's game goes and wins later on in Haydock. I wouldn't like to be Harry Cobden's.
Harry will cope with that, but I think that's what's going to happen, Darren. I do think that's what's going to happen. Interesting, Shishkin's got the pieces back on for the first time in ever. Sorry, I was going to say in, but yeah, ever. So yeah, little change, little wake up call for Shishkin from the Henderson camp. I always like to ask Paddy what he thinks about these. He always thinks the first go is the best go. So expect Shishkin to win by about 37 lengths. I'll be looking for that on various betting apps available to you. Let's move on to the 150. Darren, I may as well stick with you here. Gaillard de Menno is coming over to the 150 at Haydock for the graduation chase. He's got a little bit in hand on some of these, but of course, there is weight differentials in play. Appleway, Grey Dawning, Scipion, and Hardy Bloke will take on Gaillard de Menno. He might not even go a favourite because they do like this Grey Dawning from the Scouting Yard.
Yeah, I have a confession to make. I don't like Gaillard de Menil. I've never liked Gaillard de Menil, and I never will like Gaillard de Menil. And so with that off my chest, I would not want to back him here over 2.5 miles on his first run of the season, his first run since the Grand National, and he's trying to give Appleway £25. He's read a 156 over fences. She got to 141 over hurdles. On paper, she can run £5 below her hurdles mark and still beat him on her chasing debut if he runs to a mark of 155, a mark I sincerely doubt he will run to on his first run of the year. So I'm going to lay him 2 places, I think. I'm going to take a chance on the mare. I respect Grey Dawning, but Skeletons have gotten up to a relatively ordinary start to the season.
Hey, if you backed all their horses, Darren, to be in front of the last, would be flying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I may open up a bookmakers that pays out in that and go broke, but in any case, I don't have a massively strong opinion. Like, it's very hard to get stuck into Appleway when you haven't seen her jump a fence in public. But I'm just going to take a chance. She can at least maintain her hurdles form, which on paper should be good enough here. £25 is a huge differential.
Yeah, it's a big gift. And as not a fan of Gaillard de Menno, I've never been a massive fan. I've got involved with it a couple of times. Not in the early days, though, when Dermot Nolan was Gaillard de Menno's biggest fan. Dermot, perhaps an odd race to see this one turn up in first.
Yeah, Willie's had seems to have had a runner a weekend over in the UK. The winner last weekend at Cheltenham was all ridden by Brian Hayes, actually, who was down, I thought, earlier to ride Gaillard de Menil, but Patrick Mullen seems to have taken over now. But unless there was an error. Yeah, look, I wouldn't be rushing to back him over 2 miles 5, just as Darren said, 2 miles 5.5. But I there's nothing there I'd want to be taking him on with either. So it's a race I'm just happy to watch, Dino.
Fair enough. Is it a watching brief for Cian as well?
I'd be in agreement with Darren. Yeah, I've never liked Gaillard de Menil, and I think all the weight he has to give away to Appleway is massive. Like, I mean, Appleway finished up last season winning a grade one event at Aintree. I mean, will he take the fences? I don't know, but I wasn't overly impressed with Grey Dawning last time out. I mean, I don't think Nichols' runner was at his best that day, and he still only managed third. I didn't think that was a great chase debut. Gaillard de Menil probably need further, and he definitely has bigger targets in the latter part of the season. So I think at the prices now, Appleway actually was 6-1 this morning with bookmaker, which was a massive rick. He's been backed into 11-4 top price now.
11-4 best out there, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, he's been well punted already. I could see him going off maybe 2-1, and I think he'll win.
We could have co-favourites of 3 around that, because I don't think that, there's plenty of Gaillard de Menno fans out there that might not let it go off too juicy a price. So fascinating race at 150, and pretty much opposition around for this Gaillard de Menno. Let's move on to one of my favourite horses, and one that has burnt my fingers more times than the fire downstairs, and that's Goshen. Looks like we're going to get Goshen favourite for another decent race. This time at Grade 2, the Coral Hurdle at Ascot goes close to 2:05. Goshen, 15-8 or thereabouts. Darren, value?
No, I'd have had Theatre Glory as favourite here, Dean, to tell you the truth. I think there's a very good chance she's still improving, and I think Goshen is obviously, as we all know, a little bit in and out. Though I think some of his in and out performances, I think, actually have valid excuses. But I just think with her getting the £7 off him, there's a slight suspicion she might be better going right-handed. I'm not 100% convinced of that yet, but I wouldn't have him as 2-1, her 3-1, personally speaking, if I was pricing it up. So narrowly came down on the side of Theatre Glory, but wouldn't be a massively strong shout.
Fair enough. Gosh, and still only 7, Cian. I mean, there's still plenty of racing in this horse if they can keep his head sound. And it's not often you get one that gets beaten so often that just turns up in a grade 2 and it's likely market leader. He's a cop hero.
Yeah, I wouldn't be touching Goshen at that price. I've never ever want that horse. He's just so hard to break. I know you love him, Dean, and you'll probably plow in again and you lose, but I won't be getting involved. The one I actually like is the outsider of the field, Strong Leader. He was decent in novice hurls now last season. Came into Cheltenham on the back of a big win at Southwell, and then wasn't too bad in the Supreme, in fairness. And then went on to Aintree and was beaten just over a length by In the Pocket, who's obviously, I think, is a serious horse. Then on his season debut, he went off favourite for the Welsh champion hurdle at Foss last, finished dead last. But I know the ground was good to soft that day, but I think when it's good to soft at Foss last, it's probably soft. And I just think this horse needs a bit of better ground. I just think at 6-1, there's a bit of upside with him, and I think he could. Like it's an open, right? Like any of these could win it, but I just think it's 6-1. If he bounces back to form, he'll be right there in the shake-up, and I think he's a good bet.
Very fair case made. I mean, if he'd never run at Foss last, he'd be right at the top of this market, close to.
That's the thing,
so,
yeah.
If
he didn't run it, he'd be near favourite if he didn't run at Foss last year. Even if he ran and he placed, or he'd be near favourite. So just put a line through that run, he's decent value.
Yep, Ollie Murphy are going okay. Sean Bowen in the play, outsider of the lot, around 6-1, Strong Leader. Dermot, you'll be getting involved with Goshen this weekend. I know I've asked everyone else, they've said no.
No, God, no.
Fair enough.
The one day involved with him, he was a no-show. No, completely agree with everything there that Cian said. That horse he blew out that day, but he's too good of a prospect to be the price he is in a race like that. It's not a great race, getting plenty of weight there for the rest of them. So yeah, definitely, I'm very happy to follow Cian and Darren Strong Leader.
Fair enough. Okay, so a couple of votes then for Strong Leader. Darren signing with Theatre Glory, and to ask me, I think Goshen will run away with him under Niall Houlihan, of course, deputising for the stricken Jamie Moore. We wish him well in his recovery. That seemed pretty nasty. The 220 at Haydock is the Stayers handicap hurdle. I like one in here, and when I like one, I tend to want to go last. So, Damo, you go first.
I really, really like Dubrovnik Harry here. Really like him. He'll be slashing around my head now as nap territory. The price is huge, especially watch his last run. This horse has always been promised, but Harry Fry tends to bring them along slowly like this. Like, again, we'll discuss Boot Hill kind of later on. That few of Harry Fry's tend to look like they're never quite going to get there, and then all of a sudden, bang, they just start, really kind of growing up. And Dubrovnik Harry has been kind of like this, but last time behind Highland was brilliant that day. Again, brilliant ride from Nico de Boinville, but Dubrovnik Harry was he would kind of race wide the whole way, and then was just given so much to do, but he stayed on really well that day. Caught my eye immediately. Obviously, his mark is still really good. Runs here in a race that's more than winnable. This is not a very strong race. Interesting to see the move towards the Fergal O'Brien horse, especially considering you've got a Mullins horse there. But the Dubrovnik Harry under Brian Carver, that was really eye-catching last time. They've always kind of punted him a few times in very decent races. This is not a very strong race. The other one I was looking at there was Gowl Road, who could be very interesting. But I think the Dubrovnik Harry off a lovely weight, Dean, is stonking price.
It was definitely on my list. I thought I actually fancied it to run well behind Highland last day, and it did. And whilst I was a touch disappointed, I thought there was plenty more still to come from the 7-year-old for Harry Fry. You mentioned Gowl Road, of course. If Mr. Weldon was on here, he'd be all over that one. Loves Gull Road. There's been plenty of money for that as well, judging by the latest market shake-up from the declarations. Cian, what did you like in the 220? I should mention, obviously, Fergal O'Brien's Crambo is at the top of the market here with an Emmett Mullins run a Slate Lane. They're both around 3-1 the pair with most operators. And you've got Lord Snooty, the Dubrovnik Harry that Dermot mentioned, and 10-1 bar. Did you find some value in here, Cian, or have we already mentioned the right one?
Yeah, I think in this race they're kind of looking for a horse who's better than handicaps and can possibly develop into a stayers hurdle contender. And I think the only one that can actually do that is Crambo. I mean, he was very good last season. He's kind of competitive enough in decent novice hurdles. Won a lot of races. Won easily at Aintree first time out. I just think he's the class edge. I think the Emmett Mullins horse Slate Lane, he's been winning pretty weak races during the summer now, unless he's obviously been laid out for the race and they know something that we don't. He doesn't have as good as form as Crambo, and I don't think he can develop into that stayers hurdle horse. At a price, if I was taking a bet in the race, probably each way, Gosh How Posh for Philip Hobbs, very unexposed horse, has run 4 times, always runs a good race. At 16, he can grab a place. But I think Crambo at 7-2, he has all the credentials to win the race and go on and develop into a potential stayers hurdle horse.
Yep, I completely agree. Crambo is very solid for me. I do think if I was going to have a decent bet this weekend and be confident of going there into the winners enclosure, I'd have that one. I do like the Dubrovnik Harry, but Crambo is very much on my list. You mentioned Gosh How Posh for Philip Hobbs and Johnson White. It would be great for them to get something back after the tragedy that happened to Chime Hill during the week. That stable must be feeling a little bit down, so hopefully they get a bit of fortune coming their way. Darren Hughes, what do you like?
Yeah, horse I came down and I don't think we'll be winning a stairs hurdle anytime soon, but I think there's enough evidence to suggest that he can run very, very well, and that's Lord Snooty, Christian Williams. I think he's going to be at his best at extreme trips in time, and certainly extreme test of stamina. So I mean, a 3-mile handicap hurdle around Haydock off a relatively low weight, I think it'll be right up his street. His second behind Trelawn earlier this year, I think, is great form. Trelawn was mentioned last week by Stephen Cass as a horse to follow for the year. And I think then he ran perfectly respectably in a hotter contest again at the Punchestown Festival, an unusual Irish raider for Christian Williams. He sent him back over to Ireland then last month to Galway to run in a novice hurdle where he looked like he badly needed the run, and trip probably shy of what he's going to need also. The market hasn't exactly missed him at 7-1. I kind of hope they'll get bigger, but I think this lad has an awful lot of juice in his mark at the moment, and I think that's why they haven't gone chasing with him just yet, or at least that's what I'm hoping. In time he will be a chaser, but I reckon they've looked at the mark 123 and they've gone, one lads will take a swing at a 70k pot and see where we get to. So expect to see him up at the larger obstacles in the not too distant future, I reckon. But if he wins this weekend, that might be another little ways down the road. But we'll see how he gets on. Lord Snooty 7-1, I thought had a good chance.
Fair shout. Christian Williams, Jack Tudor on board for Lord Snooty around 7-1 in what is a competitive 220 at Haydock, with a good pot on offer for this Premier Handicap. But myself and Cian like Crambo, and Dermo's in the Dubrovnik Harry train. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes very well. I did like it previously, but I do think Crambo might be a class above. Decent race. A quick jaunt over the Irish Sea into Punchestown. State Man's going to go off very short for the Morgiana, Darren. 1-4, not a punting race, surely. Pied Piper's there, Echoes and Rain, and Phil Didari making up the 4.
Yeah, no, watching brief only. Make sure State Man is still alive. I'm sure they'll find a way to cut a half point off his price for the champion hurdle, despite the fact that he should pick these up and carry them. As for what will come second, again, it'll probably be Pied Piper. Like, you're probably not, there's probably not much value anywhere in this race. Not that I can see anyway on current markets. Something might change on the day, but very much a watch and brief only. A little bit disappointing to see the Morgiana with only the 4 runners in it. But as Dermo alluded to earlier on, c'est la vie, that's sort of the situation we find ourselves in at the moment, I'm afraid.
Yep, it is. And Cian, normally, come and have a quick chat to you about this race and go, what do you think of making the champion hurdle picture? There is no champion hurdle picture, Cian, is there?
No, it's all over. Give it to Constitution Hill.
Yeah, we move on.
I suppose, yeah, look, we know State Man isn't good enough to get near Constitution Hill, so I suppose we're kind of looking for Impere Pass to probably win the Hatton Grace. He might take on State Man before Cheltenham. If he
They'd have to have a pop. Yeah, it's good money.
Yeah,
there,
yeah. I suppose if he beats State Man impressively, then we might come into Cheltenham with some sort of a clash, but it's obviously very hard to see Constitution Hill, anything getting him off the bridle. For now, anyway.
That's
Yeah,
fair. Of course,
Statement
of course.
wins well, yeah.
Yep, indeed. I mean, we will get to the point, Dermo, where, you know, when we get to Cheltenham, unless this, as the situation Cian described, happens, they might need to drape an Irish flag over one and an English flag, or a UK flag over the other one, and we might get a matchup. But there's no champion hurdle picture, really. We need lots to happen for that to be one.
No, looking forward to the DRF because, in fairness to Willie Mullins, he does let them run against each other. You know, he did last year with that. The Irish Arkle was one of the races.
Yeah.
One of the best races you'd ever see because he just threw them all into it, let them all go. Same thing will happen with these two. Stateman's brilliant. Like, he's a really good horse. You know, he hammered Honeysuckle last season, who went on to win the Mayor's Hurdle afterwards.
Yeah.
It does show the level of Constitution Hill. Impaired Pass, they think the world of him. We heard Mikey Fogarty on our preview night say how much they absolutely adore him. And he's a good challenger. It's horses like Constitution Hill need Impaired Pass to kind of take him on. But Constitution Hill he's another level completely.
Cool. Let's move on to the 3 o'clock at Haydock now. Normally you get a slightly bigger field for the Betfair Chase, of course, the Grade 1 at the weekend. And normally you get less glory about what might turn up because it's pretty cast in stone what would be turning up. But Brave Man's Game is likely to go here the closer it gets without any kind of decision not to put him in. I'm reconsidering my original view, which was this was a marketing stunt. It's like I can imagine the phone being run by Barry Orr into Paul Nicholls going, look, listen, I know you don't want to go in the Betfair Chase, but if you could just put a different jockey on, we'll run the story for a few days. We'll get loads of news about this race. And if you don't really want to run him, it's fine. I don't know. Cian, you're a massive fan of Brave Man's Game. You disappointed with his return?
I was a massive fan of Brave Man's Game, team. I'm not off him. Yeah, I just saw his, like, I tipped him up for the King George last year and was on him anti-post. We tipped him up anti-post for the Gold
We
Cup.
were all on for the
25s.
Gold Cup. Me and you led the charge.
Yeah, jumped the last 11 with Gallopin and just found absolutely nothing. Went on to Punchestown then. Again, just found nothing. And I know, like, his seasonal debut with the Charlie Hull Chase, he really should be putting Gentleman's Game to bed, regardless of what sort of condition he's in. Like, he was, like Paul Nichols said, oh yeah, he wasn't fully fit. He was as fully fit as he was last year for that race, and he hosed up in that race. I think he's gone backwards. I think I was actually looking at it after that race. Paul Nichols said he might run in this. He was actually 12-1.
Yeah.
As big as 12-1. I said there's no chance he's going to run in this. I actually can't believe he's running, to be honest.
I still don't think he's going to run Cian.
I think it's a crazy call, yeah. I mean, we know how bad the Haydock ground is. I know it's soft, but like it is going to be a grueling test. Like, and I just think he might be leaving his King George behind him. And I just think even money. I'd actually have the prices flipped around. I'd have Protector at evens and Brave Man's Game at 2-1. I think
sure.
Skeletons have Protector at this is his Gold Cup. Like, this is his season revolves around this race. He'll have him cherry ripe. I think with Brave Man's Game, he's coming back. He hasn't won now in 3 races. He's coming back off a disappointing run when he was beat on short price favourite in Charlie Hall. Just wouldn't be as keen on him as I was last season, Dean.
Yep, 100%. I am with you. I was relatively disappointed first time up. Certainly more so I reflect on it, the more disappointed I was. He could be gone. Darren, surely there's value in the outsiders if you're not, rolling in the Skelton train. Is there value?
Yeah, I hadn't a huge amount of interest in having a bet on this. I don't care what anyone says. Daryl Jacob riding this horse is weird. There was kickoff earlier in the week that, stupid question to even ask, and this is a thing of nothing, blah blah. This is odd. I don't know what's after going on. I think something is after going on. I don't think it's entirely down to 6 rides at Ascot on a relatively ordinary race day. Well, relatively ordinary is harsh, but you know where I'm coming from.
None of us have tipped him to win a race over there.
Do you know what I'm saying? As in, like, there is absolutely no way Ruby and his pomp would have let Codo Star run the Betfair Chase and him gone and rode 6 handicappers somewhere else.
No, it's like sending Paul Townend to Cork on Sunday instead of letting him ride Gallopin des Champs at Punchestown.
You've got it. Yeah, because he's got six in Cork for Rich Ritchie and someone else, Joe Donnelly, let's say. Like, this is weird.
I still don't think it's going to happen, in which case it's not weird at all.
But
But
Dean, across the board, though, something's happened because, why isn't Bryony Frost or Lorcan Williams the actual number 2s in the yard on the horse, first of all, right? So why isn't either of them, even if you're not running them, you're after pissing those 2 off, right? I think to me, the owner wanted to run in the Betfair chase. The owner's son was on Twitter saying this as well. I wouldn't be surprised if the owners put their foot down and Paul Nicholls has went, well, you're not getting my jockey.
Great. Darren.
It just seems really weird to even do this. As in, Harry Cobden's had to explain himself for half the week as to what's going on. To go and ride Pictori against Shishkin as well. It's not like I genuinely assumed when I was there Wednesday, I assumed, right, Shishkin mustn't be running on like Monday.
Yeah.
When I read it, I was like, Pictori must be going off odds on in that race, and they just want to make sure that owner gets a good result here now. I was like, that makes sense. I looked at it, Shishkin's favourite. Like, what are
only 78 lengths to turn around from a previous meeting or something like that.
The way Nichols was going on, it was like he was doing him a favour. I'm sending him tasketures, and he got 6
It
great
was very
rides.
strange, but he's done this before. Paul Nicholls, remember, Sam Thomas was sacked off for Ruby Walsh, and he tried to spin it in a way for Denman. Remember, he took him off Denman, and he tried to spin it in a way that Sam Thomas's head was gone. It was great for Sam Thomas to not be right. like Paul Nicholls has loads of previous to this. There was another time as well where he was clearly trying to get into Willie Mullins' head, and he said that Identity Thief was the horse to beat in the Champion Hurdle, where Faugheen was the favourite. You know, Paul Nicholls he does this sort of thing. He just comes out with this raw meat, as we'd say in Kerry. But something's happened here. I don't know. Something has happened.
Yeah, I think he'd be declared a non-runner in the morning, and it would be Betfair. We'd just be counting their marketing mentions. That would
I don't think so. As a man who has, let's call it a little bit of experience in the Betfair marketing department, I don't think this is the MO on this particular occasion. And I think the horse is going to line up. I was going to ask you to do a market. Who's more likely to run Brave Man's Game or Joe Biden next year in 2024? But we might leave that on where it is for now. But I reckon he runs. And I want to be backing up the price. I can see Cian's argument, but I'm not a Protectorate fan either. Do you know what? This is just a spectacle.
Fair enough, Darren. Okay, we've lost Darren.
The fall of this tomorrow.
You cut off at spectacle, Darren, but I guess the rest of it was that it's not the race you're looking forward to most tomorrow. So
exactly. Sorry, beg your pardon. So my internet's a little bit hit and miss.
No, that's
I
all
basically
good.
said, it's the politics and ruminations around it is what I want to see tomorrow. So let's see where we end up.
Oh yeah, plenty of story around it. Damn, you'll be piling into Brave Man's Game anyway after all that.
Oh yeah, he wins.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, perfect. All right. One of my favorite horses actually from last year and into this year. I think they picked the wrong race towards the end of the season when maybe things didn't go to plan. For Boot Hill is who I'm talking about, but I was very, very impressed with his seasonal return. He goes to Ascot in the 3:15. Demo, this will be short, but if you're doing any kind of multis or accas, you want to have this fella in. He is he's ahead of everything at this point, even off a 155 mark.
Yeah, it's like anything. You know, he's kind of been steadily getting there. It's taken him long enough now. You know, he really was a nearly horse, but he finally has shown that great potential of his, and I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely excellent. He took apart that field so easily. Johnny Burke is made for him, and Saint Segal, in my opinion, that was a poor ride that he got the last day. David Noonan wouldn't be my favourite jockey in the world. He'll chase him home though, I think. And I liked Triple Trade obviously beating Calico at the weekend because I was very keen on Calico. So they're probably the right three to be worried about. Boot Hill's good nag though, Darren. He's good. He's improving. He's a handicapper going places. They'll go back into tougher company, trying to pick up another pot.
Yeah, to be honest, I ended up falling down on him by process of elimination here, to tell you the truth. I agree with Jermaine's comments and David Noonan, and also San Segal is not a horse I've ever fallen in love with. I was half interested in Frere Darms, and I don't like making my decisions based on selections based on jockeys, but I think Tristan Durrell is poor. Let's call it poor. Anyhow, long story short, I think Boot Hill looks like he's on the up.
I thought he gave Knickerbocker Glory an absolute peach there like two weeks ago. It was an absolute screamer of a ride.
And he's still getting £5 off. You're entitled to still be learning the trade at this point.
Yeah, I suppose
We don't mind knocking jockeys here, but I don't know. That's harsh.
I don't know. I've a bet in English racing most days, and I've been watching, the Skeleton Horse, let's say, and this lad for a couple of years now. And for me, having him up is a negative. That's all. I personally speaking, I could be speaking through my pocket here, but in any case, I'm not going to go through the young lad. Yeah, it would be nothing new there. In any case, Boot Hill looks like he's on the upgrade. I thought Auckland Risk had half a chance as well, off what looks like a favourable mark, and the race looks like it's actually set up for him to run quite well. But I'd like to see Boot Hill win and continue his upward curve.
Yeah, I would too. I don't know how much I'll be getting involved at the kind of price, but definitely being any multis I put together. He's tight enough for a handicap chase, but he's smart. Cian, are you a Boot Hill man?
Yeah, I suppose the penny's kind of dropped with him finally, Dean. It's taken a while, but he was very, very good at Ascot the last day. 155. I mean, if he wins this, he's getting up to the kind of 160s, and then you're talking about, champion chase outsider. He should win it. I mean, 5 to 2 is a fair price. Interesting to see Triple Trades running again so quickly. Just ran last weekend, like didn't out so quickly.
Yeah, and he won in the style of a horse that should probably have plenty more to come. And if they go up and trip again, this is only 2 mile 1.
Yeah.
Calico would have set these, but I'd be interested in him now. Add on half a mile and give him a little break.
Just strange to run a week after. I just, he was
good nick. Yeah,
it must have been good nick. Yeah. Look, Boot Hill will probably win, and then you'd like to think he's too good for handicaps, and they should target whatever race John Munn doesn't go for, and he pick up a bit of prize money and might win into 3rd or 4th in the champion chase or something like that.
Yep. Send him over to Ireland. I don't think the trainer's afraid of doing that, and go for any race where El Fabiolo's not there and he's probably
there you go.
The mixer. Exactly. So
he'd win a couple of races or whatever.
I'd love to have that problem with that horse. I'm a big fan. Big old bull who the penny has dropped. 3:35 at Haydock. Final race we're going to cover. I mean, we'll have a quick chat about the Darren, of course, at the weekend. But Cian, I'll come to you on this one first. Famous Bridge for Nicky Richards is the market leader currently. Credo's in there for Anthony Honeyball. Doc Pickney for Richard Hobson. And it's like 6-7 to 1 bar. City Ismail has got a few entries over the weekend for the pipes. Interesting enough race to kind of finish off on at Haydock. Handicap chase, of course. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it's a very tricky race. I mean, if you push me for a bet, I'd go with Credo just on the basis he was very good on seasonal debut in Wincanton, 5 to 1. I'd say a few rookies picking 4 places. I couldn't see him out of top 4, but wouldn't be sweet on anything. It's a tricky race.
Fair enough. Sam Twiston in the plate for Anthony Honeyball. Could go a favourite that one in the end. Darren, did you have a view? Oh, Darren's on pause. We go to Dermo. Dermo, did you have a view?
No, Dean. Absolutely no opinion at all.
I had a bet here. Like,
go on.
The race that everyone's got to the end of is like, I don't know, it's too difficult. It looks pretty tricky. It is. There's obviously we had Benson on here a good few times last year. He loves that coconut splash, and I was always laughing along saying that's got absolutely no chance. And I actually think it's got a chance this weekend. It's now 1-2-2. It's got 4 behind City Chief, Broadway Boy, albeit reasonably well beaten. But wedges on, Evan Williams there. This is not a great race. He's going to be double figures. I see it 16s into 12s in places. Yeah, coconut splash would be a decent each way play for me. Darren, you are back. Did you ever view on the 3:35 at Haydock?
Yeah, I beg your pardon. The old Longford Wi-Fi is not participating with my technological endeavours today. I thought this was really, really tricky. I could see why Famous Bridge is the price he is here. He's got an awful lot of upside, but I couldn't back him at the prices, and I also don't necessarily want to oppose him. Do you know where I'm coming from? I was right on the fence with whether to back or oppose him, and so I'm going to take the cards way out, and I'm going to sit this one out and just watch the race. I'm hoping he wins, because I think he's got the potential to go places, but leave it with me for now.
Fair enough. That's Famous Bridge. There's a tentative call there, but probably just going to be a watching brief. No one really that keen on anything. So Coconut Splash is the each way play there for everyone to get stuck into. I do think it go well for the Williams shot. All right, the 2:30 at Punchestown on a Sunday. Definitely the last race we're going to talk about on this week's race hour, of course. Galloping the Champs, 4-11. 4-11, Darren Hughes, you're the markets man.
Yeah, again, I think if I was going to do anything, I think I'd lay him. I haven't decided yet whether I will or not, but if I was going to do anything, I think I'd lay him. I think that Gold Cup, there's every chance that's left a mark on him, to tell you the truth.
Well, it seems to have done it to Brave Man's Game, but he was the beaten rival, of course. This one ran away and got it done. So it'd be interesting to see. They don't always come back.
Yeah, they don't always come back, and it's not unheard of for one to get turned over in this race, especially one of Willie's at this sort of price. So if I'm going to do anything, there's a good chance. If he gets any shorter now, I think I'm going to translate him and have the field running for me. But I'll make that decision on Sunday.
Fair enough. It's not a bad field, of course. Fast or slow. I saw JJ Slevin talking about him on the telly the other day, saying he's got loads of boot. He'd be fine for 2 mile 3. The one thing I think he does, mate, he's good cruising speed. I'm not sure he's got all the boot in the world. This isn't the longest race, maybe, as well. Blue Lord, appreciate it. Conflated, steering for long. Stat love, Baruch Delaine, French Dynamite. God, you'd love this race to be in the UK now and again. Doesn't happen though, Cian. Doesn't happen. Galloping de Champs, Sport 11.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it. Would not touch it. Coming off the back of obviously unbelievable in the Gold Cup last year, one of the best winners, but just the run of Punchestown was, the signs are there that maybe that race has taken a bit out of him. I wouldn't lay him, but I think the race actually is a nice each-way structure to it. Faster, slow, would probably need further. I wouldn't rule that horse out now. I thought that run of Punchestown was quite good. He could be a Gold Cup contender. Blue Lord could not have him. But the one I actually like is, you're going to laugh now, but it's Steering for Lunge. just on the basis, yeah. Yeah, I know, it's mad.
The great white dope is back.
I think it's 16s. I think he could actually I could just see him coming out first run of the season. I could see him running some sort of race and at an each way price. I can remember the year he ran in this and he was traveling all over Allaho. I think he was trading long odds on. Yeah. And he unseated his rider, but he has a big run in him. But yeah, again, I can see why you're laughing. He's such a frustrating horse. But
Steering for Lunge is the kind of horse I expect to see in the Spa when I pop down there for a pint of milk, just kind of pottering around the back, looking at the kind of the wine section. He's a nutcase. I could
nutter, absolute nutter. Yeah, but going right-handed first time out, he might just outrun his odds.
Hey, why not, man? You've got a bad ticket in this game, and Steering for Lunge is talented when he fancies it. The great white domo, is he for you?
Oh, no. Watching briefly. Obviously, no, not going near it.
Fair enough. All right. Galloping de Champs is back Sunday, Punchestown, 2:30. Taking on the rising star of last year that we didn't see coming, Fast or Slow. Blue Lord, appreciate it. Conflated. Steering for Lunge. It's a great white dope. Snap with Baruch Delaine, French Dynamite. Could be the race of the weekend. It would be fascinating to watch anyway. All right. It is time for anything else. If you do have anything else across the cards, forever, get involved right now. Damn, you normally have something.
I've got 3. Sorry, 2 seconds there now. Oh yeah, first of all, Sander Clegane in the Florida Pearl on Saturday. It's a serious renewal, but this is a brilliant horse. I loved what he did last season. In my opinion, could have won the Albert Bartlett, but for a poorish ride. And I know the Paul Byrne horse ran out, which those colours are having a weird habit of doing. But the
it's odd.
Yeah, well, sorry, that was JP, obviously, but he was the one that
was only
sold.
The first run for JP, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Corbett's cross.
Yeah, so but Sander Clegane was really good that day. Had a behind Imagine, and I know what you're thinking that day as well, but trip was too short for him. Ran quite well though. The stables form's a worry, but it's just so hard to actually train a winner in Ireland that it's hard to know who's in bad form, and you can't even get into these races. So he's one though that I just think is very good, and that's a serious race. Flooring Porter will have plenty of fans, but Sander Clegane for me is the younger legs. Walk away in the 157 at Punchestown. He's just been an unbelievably frustrating horse as far as injury goes, but he showed quite a lot after 759 days off or something like that. And then last time out at Cork was well backed and just fell halfway. But likes Punchestown in his second here twice, and he's one that should go very well. And then one for the golden oldies on this podcast, Falco Blitz is now trained by Eric McNamara, and he runs on Sunday in the 250 at Cork in the handicap chase. Eric McNamara is superb at getting horses back who maybe have kind of fallen out of love with the game. And last time he showed plenty. He ended up finishing 4th. The last maybe furlong and a bit was probably a bit too much to kind of stepping back and trip here. But Eric McNamara, he's a very good trainer. 10 stone 6 on his back. Would like to see maybe a claimer on board. But it's horses like him, they just eventually run into a mark where they can strike off, and Falco Blitz in the 258 Cork on Sunday. Looks to me like he's approaching that day.
Hey, I love the nostalgia on this podcast. Falco Blitz coming back into full vision is great crack. Because you did that, I wasn't going to mention this horse was running this weekend, but because you did that,
he's
Stella
only 8
Magic.
years old, Falco Blitz.
No, I know, but like this podcast is similar vintage, and we probably mentioned
or nine. Sorry, 9.
Yeah. So Stella Magic. Remember that horse? Well, he's moved. He's now trained by Billy Aprahamian, who I do have to admit not seen training a horse anywhere else. So Stella Magic gone there. And that runs on Sunday at Uttoxeter. So if you want the nostalgia race, our podcast double, Stella Magic Falco Blitz will set you up for a good Sunday afternoon.
Billy Aprahamian has gotten more lads out of jail with a 4 to 6 shot in a hunter chase in Stratford-on-Avon in the summertime than you've had hot dinners. I can tell you that.
Well,
he sends them out like they're going out of fashion. I swear to God.
This is what I like to hear, Darren. That's why you're here. This Stella Magic is becoming a podcast charge. That's going to win on Sunday.
I've absolutely no idea. It's been early in the year, but if you see Hunter Chase, Billy Aprahamian, anything 6 to 4 or under is an absolute nap at the highest order. It can't get beat.
Let's stop talking about this because I want a price about this horse on Sunday, right? So we move on.
6 to 4, I'll give you this.
6 to 4 sounds like what it's going to be. Yeah, fair enough. All right. Okay. I've lost my train of thought now. Darren, did you have anything else for the weekend? And then I'll ask Cian, and then we'll do naps.
Sure thing, yeah. Just go back to the Flooring Porter, as Dermo kind of alluded to. I'd be mad to be against Flooring Porter here. Price dependent, of course, but no more than with Bob Ollinger last week, which I would hold hands up on getting very, very wrong. The shorter this horse is, the more I'm going to want to be against him. And I do suspect that there's a good chance he could take out a fair bit of the market by the time all is said and done. What I'm going to oppose him with will obviously be massively price dependent. Churchstone Warrior brings all the experience in the world, but I suspect he might need it. Though I think he's a horse that's going places as well now. He's got his act together over fences, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with himself this year. And I think getting Michael O'Sullivan on him is no harm either. Let's call it that way. Let's put it that way. Not that there's anything wrong with Dennis O'Regan or Aidan Coleman, but Michael O'Sullivan is unbelievable. In any case, this will be massively price dependent, but I'm looking forward to opposing Flooring Porter on Sunday. Is all I had to. Or Saturday, I should say. Sorry.
That's fine. 123, of course, on Saturday at Punchestown is that Florida Pale Novice Chase. Churchstone Warrior, Affidel Fury. It looks good. Yeah, Fabry, Deschamps, do.
Maybe Calixtos was brilliant.
Calixtos is back, as well. Standard for the game. And Maxim from the Elliott Yard. Interested in no Willie Mullins runner, and that's because his best 3 mile novice chase is Factor 5. You can relax and be calmly just watching this and wait for the Brown Advisory, where you will be collecting at big prices. It's still 16 to 1 for that. So don't worry, lads. All is in good order. Cian, did you have anything else for the weekend?
Yeah, I just touched on a few horses there, Dean. Fairy House on Friday, the 12:55. Mr. Policeman runs. A lot of chat around him for the Arkle, so keep an eye on that. Probably be a short price. Probably will win. Then on to Saturday on that Florida Pearl Novice Chase. Yeah, that's probably the race of the weekend. I mean, that's a serious race. I mean, everything in there has a chance. The one I really like is Nolan Mead's Affidel Fury. I thought he was really good at Galway, beating Valverde Shandu last time out, and then was second at the Punchestown Festival behind Gaelic Warrior, second at Cheltenham behind Stay Away Faye. I think he'll have a big season. He's only 5-year-old. He's improving. That's a serious race. The race actually before that, the 12:48, we must come to Dermo, because not only does Gaelic Warrior run, but Shan Valley Kid runs Dermo.
I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah. Dermo's favourite horse. Any thoughts, Dermo?
Does that mean Dermot Nolan's missed it? Because I've already asked him about anything else.
Dean, I have it down on my notes, and I just completely forgot to mention the fucker. But look, he was put up as one of my horses to follow for the season. More so, who was the other horse that Monty Star. I really love Monty Star for a fence, but all the noise coming from the lads in our preview night this was a lovely horse. Ran okay in the Albert Bartlett, didn't pull up any trees, but decent enough. Thank you very much, Cian, because I literally have him down in my notes. But yeah, like, could be anything. Michael O'Sullivan's a mad booking as well. But I'm always happy to take on Gaelic Warrior no matter where he runs. So I'll be taking him on there anyway with Shambali Kid for sure.
When you will now that Cian's reminding you that he's running. That's what's good. Cian, was there anything else, or will we do naps?
Yeah, just a couple more there. The 12:28 at Huntington, Ben Pauling's Teller the Name, won a point and was just touched off by Nicky Henderson horse at Ascot. I presume he'll be short price, but I think he'll go in again. He was very good the last day. And then just on Sunday, we obviously don't have declarations now, but just a couple of horses to keep an eye on. The 12:35 at Cork, Ballyburn, who's favourite for the Ballymore, is entered. And also at Punchestown, the 12:10 Tully Hill is entered over 2 mile 6. I think you should take the 16 to 1 about him for the Alba Bartlett. I think he'll develop into a top class prospect. Yeah, real staying horse. They've talked about him for the Ballymore or the Alba Bartlett, but I think with Ballyburn likely to go for the Ballymore, I think 16 is about him for the Alba Bartlett is a great anti-post bet.
Cheveley Park course now, Tully Hill.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that was out. Yeah, we've got some very good horses out over the weekend. A couple of them thrown into the mix at the end, of course. Maybe not all punting prospects because seasonal reappearances and short prices in beginners and maidens, things like that. But fascinating stuff. All right, I'll do naps. Darren, do you want to go first? Your best bet of the weekend, please.
Yeah, sure thing, Dean. No problem at all. I was, to be honest, I was stuck between a couple of the ones I put up this weekend, but I'm going to come down on Lord Snooty at 7-1 in the 2:20 at Haydock on Saturday. I think he's got a huge chance to run the massive race.
Okay, Lord Snooty for Darren. Dermo, your best of the weekend. You cannot say Shambally Kid now.
No, God no. Sander Clegane in the Florida Pearl.
Okay, Sander Clegane is the one for Dermo in what is a red hot Florida Pearl. That's fascinating contest to me. Cian, your best, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against my old friend Brave Man's Game, and I'm gonna go with Protectorate in the Betfair Chase 2-1. I just think it's a brilliant price for a horse who's been targeted this all year. Pissed up in the race last year. Yeah, I think 2-1.
When Brave Man's Game is declared non-runner in the morning, what price that go up?
1 to 3 maybe.
Jesus. Oh, yeah, shorter maybe.
We'll be short. It'd be nice to know exactly. It does look like it's going to run though. I know we spent plenty of time talking about it earlier on. Okay, so Cian's going for Protectorate over Brave Man's Game in the Betfair Chase. I just think, stick with a horse that looks like the future is very, very bright and the penny has dropped. And Boot Hill 5-2 looks big for his handicap race this weekend at Ascot in the 3:15, and he'll be going places. Don't forget the nostalgia laced double Falco Blitz and Stellar Magic. If that comes in, Darren, we'll have a bit of fun over the weekend. My thanks, of course, go to Darren, Nolan, Cian, Kirby, and Darren Hughes. This has been the Race Hour podcast brought to you with our friends at Gambling.com. We'll do it all again next week. Do bet responsibly.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounded Cordon Star into submission.